Good morning, good morning. How you guys doing today? Today we got a nice video today. We're gonna talk about the idea of a woman. They say all the time they want a God fearing man, and we're gonna go to woman nature and how they say something, and then you gotta read between the line as a man, as a grown up woman, man that has raised by women lie all the time and they are very trying to cover it up, and you got to know their nature before you go engage in a relationship. And then today we're going to talk about the big subject that all women want, a god-fearing woman and a god-fearing man. So we're going to tell you why the reason is. It's going to be an interesting video, and stay tuned, and then we're going to watch the video right now, and then we go get
Because if it
into.
was my needs, bro, she's out shit cold. That like she's not gonna get the best out of it.
Of course.
But now I have a God looking at me and monitoring. You gotta love her like you love my church.
No, absolutely. Everything you're saying is completely true. And I agree with you. There's two ways we can answer the question. We can talk about it from a religious perspective and what you just described. And you're right, being a God fearing man is going to lead a woman in the correct direction because a woman is a reflection of her man.
Because if it was my needs, bro, she's out.
Okay, so let's go dive into it. He said the last. So he said first of all, so man needs she's out cold, but as a man he need to love his wife. Let's go see. So this is the thing. When I was young, little women say, I grew up in church. Women say there was no men in church. There's three reasons why they say they have no men in church. One, the first reason is that the men going to church when they're young, one, they don't have money because they broke. They just focus on studying and then go to school. And two, if they have money, they cannot even spend it. Everything they're gonna spend it is for the family or saving or spending on things like video game and stuff like that. So men, women doesn't have access of their money if they're young, and that man is not really a bad boy. He don't have the energy because most of the time he's praying with the Bible. He's not out there like partying. He's not out there like so we do the Bible, we focus on prayer and stuff like that. So basically, when they are young, they grow up with in the church, so they don't want them because they are born when they are young. Because between 12 to 21, I always say they have no men in church. Now, when they step outside, now they have their fun with the bad boy and then Pookie and Ray Ray. Now they want to go to church to get married after 29, 27. So they want a God fearing man. First thing they want to get from it, first they want stability. Stability is that in a way that is not about moral stability, is about spiritual stability, because they know bad boy, they always looking for the next best thing. They're looking for the hottest chick, they're looking for the next trend, and so on and so forth. So basically they want a man, a God-fearing man, to have stability, to not be influenced by the word. So the word can have no impact on him. So the guy can be only stay and then in church, and so she knows that this guy's gonna go out there and cheat. So that is stability. So she knows that man's not gonna cheat, because if she had a kid or she's come back from a church, she's not a virgin, and then she want to get from a man, that means she been one through the street. One through the street is like he been a bad boy. He trying to change the bad boy to a good guy. He trying to secure the player to be a wife, to be a husband or a boyfriend. He doesn't settle down. And three, he found out all those men that's not religious, they always cheat, they always lying. That's why they always say that's not a topic for lying. And also on top of that, this guy treat them like they are nothing. They call him at night, 12 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock. They want to snap the sneaky land for the benefit. They want to have it and kiki it too. So those guys has so many women on their line. So she get tired of fighting with other women for that guy, for that dude. So basically, in order for them to have that peace of mind, that stability, so what they do, they choose a God-fearing man. The God-fearing man has more stability, so the God-fearing man is not like them. So the God-fearing man is focused on her and on her only. That's the next part. The next part is focus on her, because women are selfish. They want that God-fearing man worship her, focus on, give her everything, because that God-fearing man gonna spend every dime on him and everything. his paycheck, his income, his time, his energy, and this guy is willing to sacrifice everything, his family, his friend, his time for her. So she want that. That's why she want the God family, because the God family spend all his time around her. But the bad boy and player, they don't do that. They have their own thing. They have other girls they're gonna spend time with, and they have their part, separate part. For example, they want to party, if they want to go to have fun, so they're gonna ditch her and stuff like that. And on top of that, the good friend, the guy that has they usually when he has a paycheck, he give all his paycheck to the wife. So the wife is in control of the finances, the guy wife is in control of the time, the guy's of control of everything. So she want control. That's the second thing. So in order for them to get pure control, they have to buy religious. And the third reason is that she gonna read use Bible verses to control the relationship. Remember, guys, women are not that slow. They're not stupid. They're not dumb. They're exactly what they're doing. Most of them go to church. They know the verses. They know the word, but they choose not to follow. The reason they choose not to follow, they feel like God gonna hold them accountable, and they don't want God to hold them accountable. The way they do that is to hide behind the husband, because the Bible say the husband cover the house, the sin of the woman. So basically, they want the God fearing man to pray for her over her sin so she can have access to heaven. She doesn't want to pay for her own sin. She doesn't want to pray for God to save her, but she want the husband to do so so she would have access to heaven. So this is the other part, because the God family always pray over her, bless her, bless the family, and then while she's mad, she's gonna curse at him, yell at him, so on and so forth. So she want the husband to do the spiritual work for her, so the battleground for her. She want the husband to do the fasting, to do the praying, to do the overnight praying, and so on and so forth, so she can be free from those demonic spirit. And then while the husband sleep, their time, their energy, you're losing everything. Spiritual. The worst thing about it, that's the why women want the that firm is because about her past. Well, like I said, they will avoid judgment. The best way in any other religion, there's no other religion on earth that's will now hold a woman from the past is a Christianity, because they know that verse very well. Come to Christ, everything past are forgiven. They're the new creature. So it been the 3 or 4 phase, it been the whole phase for any benefit, sneaky link, this is forgotten because they are Christian now, they're not from that life. And the men, they focus so much on that, that the men, even though she been through, went through, she got a boyfriend, she was a prostitute, she was all this, they welcome her like she's a new creature. But again, that's for the Bible. If she's really a true Christian, if she's praying. And but back from my old point, she isn't even praying. She even is looking for God, spiritual guidance. She only will for her husband, so the covering of the husband can cover her sin. That's why after a while, she divorced her husband because boring. So basically, if she has a past relationship, she goes straight to Christianity get away from accountability. It has nothing to do about or how they love the Lord. They fake loving the Lord, because at the end of the day, they don't want to hold accountable for the past. And the only religion on earth that do that is Christianity. That's why they all love a God fairy man. One more thing is that also they want the God fearing, because the God fearing all his whole life is about Christ, 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 the church. So if the guy focus on Christ so much, they're spiritual. So they like, if you're spiritual, you cannot have a lot of sex, you cannot have a lot of bad fun, because you're spiritual, you're closer to God. But he's again, the God is a man, the God is a flesh. So basically, she gonna use that excuse to not sleep with that man, because she feel like you're questioning your spiritual value. We don't want you to use sex, so your value, spiritual value, has to decrease. Now, if you have too much sex, you're gonna look outside, you're gonna look on other women, but it work backward. because man, if we give him more sex, the God fearing, he's not gonna even check other women, but the woman whole sex so the guy can pray more. So if the woman, if you want to do it tonight and the woman say no, so what he gonna do? He gonna pray more later on. He gonna pray. He's gonna be like, oh God, I don't know what happened to my wife. I want it tonight. I want love, that bad spirit, that evil spirit to cast it out. So they want that God fearing to cast the spirit. So and for her to sleep with him, because at the end of the day, she knows exactly what she's doing. She controls sex. That's why if you ask most of the older women in church, their wives sleep with family there once every 3 months, every 2 months, or every month. And then after that, he's nothing. She's not gonna give it to him like that. She don't even give him like a throat 3000, a goat throat or deep throat. None of that. Just give it slappy for 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and that's it. They gone, and then for another 3 months, another 2 months, and that's it. And it's spiritual, and because these are spiritual, is not for the flesh. Three. I mean, one more point is that when there are opportunities. Opportunities is that they from the guy without giving little. For let me elaborate that. She want the guy that's Christian give all his money, all his time, but less sex. All she gotta do now is focus on the kids. It's even sometimes they don't even focus on the kids. They want the Christian man to go to work, clean the house, take care of the kids, and next thing you know, a pay the bill and then don't ask anything in return, because this is what happened to the Bible. They know the Bible. They know. Don't be weird. They know the Bible. They know. They pick and choose which one, because they know that if the husband cannot mandate the wife to do such and such. So that's why they feel empowered when their husband asks for the wife to sleep with him, and she said no, he respect that, because if he's forced that, she feel like he's got violating his own word of God by arguing with her, by not respecting her choice. But if the Christian man is praying and she want that, and then he say I'm praying, she gonna get mad. This is the other little thing. If the Christian man says it's gonna be like 30 days, 40 days, and fasting and praying, and then this is what gonna do. After 2 weeks or a week and a half, she want to sleep with that man. While the man is praying, she gonna have a non-clothes. She gonna go and then for that guy to fall and trap. This is what happened. If you pray about it, so she wanted to give you when you chose to go closer to God. That's why most of the men, when they're Christian, what they do if they fasting for a period of time, they most likely don't stay home, so they most likely go somewhere else, because women gonna use their sex to have a distraction for that man to not focus on the prayer lifestyle. Women are they know what they're doing. And one more thing is that they want privilege. Like I said, want privilege, because if they go to church, you cannot judge them, because God said not judge, only God can judge. Two, they cannot hold them accountable, because only God can hold them accountable. Three, you cannot judge the path, because not the creature. Only the Christianity does that. The thing that they love the most is that they don't want anyone to judge them, because they know the highest sin in Christianity is not murder. The highest sin in Christianity is cheating. I'm gonna say it again. They know the highest sin in Christianity is cheating. You can kill somebody, God gonna forgive you. You can rob, God gonna forgive you. But if you cheat, you just dead to them. That's why they focus so much on the cheating. But when you go to church, they wear tight clothes, their cleavage is out, their boobs is out, and then their legs are showing. But they don't want you as a man look at them, because they said, or they know the Bible. They say if you look at a woman with a lust, you're already sin. So if you already sin, you're not a good Christian. And then if you do that, they say you never converted in the first place. But them that come to church dress up appropriately, they don't want you to tell them just inappropriate because they're the house of the Lord. They say that God don't judge by the cover, only God knows my heart. So they know the Bible. Don't be wrong. But they twist the word, because only God knows their heart. But the thing is, they forget that whatever the heart feel like is a project from the outside. If you're happy, you're gonna be smiling. If you're on your 3 or 4 phase, you're gonna dress up as a 3 or 4s. This is what happened. So this is why they dress up on preparing church, because they don't want people to judge them, because God knows their heart. But they are on demon time. What I mean by the demon time? 90% of women in church, they pick and choose. God said, when you come to me as a woman, cover your hair, because it's a sanctification, because you're covering all her hair, mean that you're submitting to me. They come to church, they don't cover your hair. That's one. And the hair that they don't cover, the way they cover it is by a weave, by a wig. So they put another identity hair on top of the hair to come to Christ. So when they come to church, guys are looking for sister such and such, and then God see another hair on top of you, which is somebody else or something else, and they got in how I made it to be. That's why most of the time when in church they are hard headed, because their hair already change with the other hair they add up to their hair. So that spirit from that hair go toward their head. So that's why they change that. That's why they sometimes they screechy, something like that. And that's why when you talk to them, they're not listening, because that spirit from that hair go inside their hair. They don't understand that. They know it, but they choose not to obey, because and on top of that, they competing with the people outside as well. They say, oh, I have to look nice for my husband. No, they don't. That's a lie. Don't fall for it. When they're home, they never dress up for the husband. They never put the makeup for the husband. They never do for the husband. The only when they go outside, they do that. This is lying. They tell you, I gotta look for my husband, because the reason why they do it outside, because they know that if they don't dress up as a word as a outside, their husband gonna look for other women. But as a man nature, we always look, but we don't always chase. But women think when we look, we chase, we already sleep with that girl, because they know that cheating is mental for them. But since they are mentor for them, they compare you as a man, they treat you as a full woman. So they know that when you cheat on your mentor, you're already cheating by looking. But they are the one who show up the temptation in front of you at the first place. They don't say that. They're not gonna do it, because the why you cannot control yourself. Yes, I cannot control myself because it's in front of me. So why don't you listen to the word of God by submitting to the word, by comforting, by having nice clothes, and then not being a 3 or 4. So my eyes will interact to you. So I have those thoughts. They're not thinking like that. They say you're a Christian, you have enough Christianity experience, you have enough prayer experience, so you should be able to say no to sex, even though they offer to 24/7, and then all the time, even in church in the Holy Sanctuary, you should be able to control it because you're a man of God. If you cannot do it, you never a man of God. And one more thing is that other women forgive other women, but they never forgive the man. When a woman, for example, the Christian men, the God-fearing men, they said, if he lost his job, you know what other women say? Leave him, because the Bible say the man should be a provider. He's not a provider, so you're right to leave him. But they forget they forget the vow. They say to riches and poor. They don't forget. They don't remember that. But they say man should be a provider, and if he's not a provider, leave him. If he's sick, leave him, because he cannot protect you. Leave him. If he doesn't go to school, leave him, because he's not educated. So leave him. So they know the Bible. They choose and pick. They want you to understand the whole Bible. They pick and choose. If, for example, you're sick right now and then there's no money to pay the rent, what they're gonna do? They're gonna cheat on you and then blame on the devil and then pray God to forgive her. But you If she doesn't give it to you, you go say you cheat. If you pray and say it was the devil, she's not gonna believe it. She know exactly what you're doing. You're not a Christian. You fall from your faith, and then she gonna tell the whole church. And next thing you know, she gonna leave because now she has a reason because you're a demon. And guess what? In the relationship, she wearing fake hair, she wearing fake nails. She paint her nails because now most women paint their nails. She have a jewels in her feet. She uses jewels in her feet, and she's cursing a lot. She give you no intention. Okay, and this is what the part they know. If you try to explain as a man in church, they say you're the man, you let it happen. You should tell her what to do, put her in place. But if you try to tell her what to do and put her in place, they say that you're not following Christ because the Christ doesn't pressure the church to do this. God give people free will. Why don't you give her free will? Once you understand that, you will see women, mother women in church, they are worse than people outside because now they use the Bible, the Holy Bible, the Word of God, the Creator against you from every little thing. And the two worst things in Christianity is adultery, which is like when you and divorce. If you divorce her, you never a Christian. That's mean one thing that you have another piece that divorce her. But never talk about it. The woman doesn't give her the good time of the day. She's nagging, she cursing. The only time a man leave the wife in church because he want to cheat. That's why they have in mind. But they never think about it. The reason why women don't give a man the good bedtime because she's cheating. They're not gonna say that. They always say she's tired, she had a kid, she was praying in church, and so on. So you tell me for 60, 30, or 90 days or 6 months, you being all that you have not even 5 minutes of feelings? You telling me that all this time you're spiritual? But if she leave the man, that's mean the man is lacking one thing. Either she's not working, he's not provider, that's mean he's not following Christ, or the man has something that a woman is lacking, so she's a cover because she's looking for a life, and God gonna forgive her. But you as a man, you shouldn't do that because you're the man, you're supposed to know better, you will control yourself, and God, you deserve her. But her, she give forgiving and stuff like that. That's why when you go to a church, whenever there is a death, I'll tell you, whenever there's a woman die in church, they always say she was a good Christian, she was a good sister. But when a man died, they said he walked, but we don't know yet. He was a good provider, he was a good family oriented, but they never know he was a good Christian. But the woman, they all say that she was a good sister, she was a Christian, but they never know that they always know that woman is nagging, she's cursing, she doesn't give the husband the pleasure, and the next thing you know, she's manipulating, and the next thing you know, they say it's a good sister because they don't want to hold those women accountable. They say peace in her soul, she's going to heaven because they want the prayer of the husband forgive all her sin, so go straight to heaven, skip judgment. That's how it is to marriage. Because the Old Testament, that's what the Old Testament say. When Abraham was able to with Sarah, Abraham was praying for Sarah, so Sarah was covered under Abraham. So whenever Abraham died, Sarah was able to go to heaven. They believe in the same, but when Jesus come, they forget that Jesus come. Jesus said, "No, your every soul is personal. Every soul is personal," and they don't do that. They rely on you because after they have the 3 or 4 phase, after they being run through, after they being such and such, this is what they do, they rely on the men to pray for them because they know God gonna forgive them. They know that because, but not their prayer, but their husband prayer. This is the reality when women want a Christian man, God fearing man. He has nothing to do. First, she doesn't want to be judged by her past. Second, she want to manipulate the man. Third, she control everything because according to the Bible, the man supposed to sacrifice his life as Jesus sacrificed his life for the church. So the means of her energy, his time, everything for her, whatever she says goes. And third, since she's a woman, the husband has to pray for the husband for her to cover her sin so she can go to heaven. And fifth, if she anything goes wrong and she left because the man fall because the man did not fulfill one of those needs from the Bible. That's the part of God framing. It has nothing to do with love because they don't love you. It's about security and access to heaven because the woman knows they don't want to go to hell, but they know they cannot do the work to go to hell because they know in order for them to go to work to go to heaven they have to deny themselves. They don't want to deny themselves. That's why sometimes they listen to bad music. They shake when they go to the church. You can see right now they grind, they drop it like a hat, and next thing you do all this craziness in church. And because they don't creature, but the thing from their past is forgive them. They're not a new creature, but the past is forgiven because now they in church. That's why they can party on Saturday night, on Friday night, have slept with someone else on the night, and on Friday, Saturday, and then have their whole face, their debauchery and abomination. And on Sunday morning, since they go to church, they pray, they are fresh, new, and start all over again, and repeat the cycle all over again every day, every week. God fearing men are losing in this stage. And that's the quarter as a nice guy. And here's the dilemma and the God fearing man. If he help her and then she doesn't give anything, she's entitled because she doesn't feel like it. But the other thing, the sisterhood as well suck the life of the God fearing man because everything they need, they can call the God fearing man to help them out, either to drop him home, to buy him groceries, to pick for the kids. If that sister, that God fearing man, try to flirt with that sister, she gonna tell the wife that, oh, your husband tried to flirt with me. I just want this help, but trying to flirt with me. Put him in his place, and the wife gonna hold sex even longer for him. And now he is in the dilemma because now he flirted with other sister. The sister now knows that he shouldn't do that because he's married. But every time she needs help, she called the guy, the husband guy, to help them out. But the Bible said your man supposed to help you. She doesn't have a man. She had the husband man. I mean the wife. I mean the husband, the other woman of her friend to help her out. That's why God fearing man is a community free labor for the Christian for the sisterhood. Community free labor. Because whatever they ask you, you cannot say no because you're Christian. And second, you should not ask nothing in return because you're Christian. And all they say, God gonna bless you. They're not even gonna pay you. That's even worse. They're not even to pay you. They don't pray for you. They don't pray. When they pray, they say, God, oh, help him out so he can have all his energy, so he can help him out in my needs, and so on and so forth. But they don't pray God for God to give me a man so I don't have to rely on him, so I don't have to bother him and his wife. So I can elevate my life, so I can be fixed. But no, they're not gonna pray that prayer. They're gonna pray for that brother to have energy to help the wife and to help her as well. And if the men try to flirt, no, you're a Christian, no, 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 no. And two, I'm gonna tell your wife. And three, next thing you know, you're in bad dilemma. And here's the thing: if a Christian man, the wife, like the girl, and the girl asks for help, the wife has to decide. The man's not gonna decide. The wife has to decide. If she like the girl, the husband automatically have to help her with nothing in return. But if the husband help a woman without her knowledge, she assuming the husband cheat with her. and to her back by helping her. Woman knows that. Woman knows. Every time a man help her, they want sex. She knows. But only in Christianity where they get away with it, but they want the help of a man without sex in return. That's what they want a God fearing man. Good heart. But if you're not a Christian, you know what they call it? You're a simp. You're a simp. But if you're a Christian, you do that, they said, oh, you're a good Christian. You help her. If you ask for the sex in return, you never converted. But if you help her without anything in return, you're a simp. And they always laughing. That's why the woman always stay on their phone. They be like, hey, this person just come and help me. He was a good brother, so and so. They laughing. They be like, oh man, you scored this one. You got a good friend. He's our energy because he help you with everything. But she doesn't gonna sleep with him. That's why there's so many women in church because they get away with free labor. They're not gonna pay you. They're not gonna sleep with you, and sometimes they don't even give you water. All they gotta say, "God bless you," and then you're a good brother. Don't change, and let's move on. But their daughters not even offer their daughter to you to get married, and their daughter even repulsed by the idea of you because they see you as a simp. Oh, this is the idea of a God-fearing woman, of a God-fearing man. That's why when after 29, when they were wedding, they wanted God-fearing men because the God-fearing man's been working all this time, all this energy, and the next thing you know, she wanted retirement man. She wanted the men spend money on her every time, anytime, without saying no because they couldn't reach Bible. That's what it is. And on top of that, the men should not impose sex on her because God give everyone free will, and then she can choose when and how she wants sex, and only then you can have it. But you cannot say no though. If you're too tired, you cannot say no. And all she gonna give you 5 minutes. But the other brother, she can hug in church while we're not here. While we're not here, she can invite other men to come to the house while we're not here. But you, if you do that, you already fell. If you invite a sister when she's not here, you sleep with that sister. If you give her another sister a hug in church, you already sleep with that sister. But she can do that because she remember, don't judge her, she's no creature, but you already hold accountable because you're a Christian God, you should to hold yourself not to touch another woman. And guys, this is why I have to go to church, and now I go deep dive in how women love God fearing men because is a win for him and is a lose is a win for her, is a lose for men. That's why now God push all those men away from church. This is not a men movement that's put themselves in. No, God pushed them away from church because they abuse their vow. Women abuse their vow. They want the men to do A to Z without complaint and ask no sex in return. And the men drain spiritually, physically, economically, mentally. And then all you gotta do, give him more. You gotta come home, go to work, come home, help the kids, pay the bill, clean up the house, maintain the safe and stable. When I'm mad, try to make me laugh, protect me when I'm in danger, and when I in sex, you cannot access 3 times a day or 2 times a week because I'm too tired. I need to rest. This is sad. That's why every man in church I know they're suffering. They're not happy. That's why most of them have high blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetic, and some type of disease because they are stressed out. They are ran out. They don't have not much energy. And guys, thank you for the new subscriber. I love you. My goal is to just to get 1,000 subscriber. Share it and subscribe. Give me a like, guys. So if you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Thank you, guys, and see you next one.